Hello, everybody. My name is Christopher Saunders, and this is the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. We talk all things talents in Connecticut, and this is a special three-part series, the hashtag Thread series. I didn't come up with that. This is the group that I have in front of me. They are a part of it. There are 6 of these fine coaches that I have. I'll be interviewing 2 per episode, and in the first to kind of bring about the series itself, I'm pleased to have on. I'll introduce now the former head coach of Norwalk, and now he will be with the Anna Maria College and be part of Cross, who's a former Waterbury guy, Holy Cross coach for many, many, many years. Pat Miller. Pat, how's it going, my guy?
Hey, living the dream, man. Thanks for having me back on. It's always fun.
Always, always. And also a guy who I just spoke to a little bit earlier about a guest that I had on here, Tim Boyle, who was fantastic all the way through. Andy Guyon, the head coach of Xavier. Coach Guyon, how's it going, my man?
Fantastic. So excited to do this again. This is great.
Always fun. Always fun. I'll first start with Pat here. I know, as far as Norwalk is concerned, I don't want to go too much on that because I know obviously it was a hard decision, and everybody has to make the growth. Everybody moves up the chain. But I do want to hit on your season because I thought what you were able to do, you and your players, because I know you dealt with a lot of adversity with certain scenarios, and your team always competed. Can you kind of just reflect on that season? Because I felt like it deserved a lot more credit than people gave it.
Yeah, it was after, we were able to have a pretty good year. Really fell short of our goals there, of making the playoffs, but those kids were just awesome, and we were able to go 7-3 and in a very tough competitive league. And after every one of our games on Saturday morning, we're about to watch film, I'd always get up in front of the team and I go, "Hey, why did we win the game last night? Why did we win the game?" And they'd throw us stuff, but the answer was always the same. And it took them to week like 7 to figure out that the answer is always the same. The answer is because we have really good players. Period. That's why we won the game, because you guys are really, really good at football, and just had a great group of kids who were bought into what we were trying to do. And when you have special players like Cam Edwards and Myson Pollard and Brandon Gilchrist and Sean Brown, Jack Hale, and the list goes on and on, of the special group of kids that we had, that you're going to be competitive, you're going to be in these games. So couldn't be proud of those guys.
I'll go to Coach Guyon here. I know, same thing with, I think, Pat Miller to a certain degree, as far as kind of like the team and dealing with some stuff, as I feel like almost every team did to a certain degree, except for the very, very few that seemed like flawless as far as non-injuries, stuff on and off the field, etc. Can you just kind of reflect a little bit on what was, the last season for Xavier football?
Well, last season, I think we were very senior heavy. We had some very talented seniors. And they had been together for 4 years. They dealt with COVID together. And they weren't going to let that deter them. And we beat the teams that we were supposed to beat. And, we had some adversity. The teams we lost to the number 2 team, the number 3 team, and the number 5 team. So, and then we lost to Ridgefield on the road on my birthday, nonetheless. So I'm super, super proud of them because of the work ethic that they showed and the example that they set for our younger kids coming up now. And you can see it in our attendance in the weight room now and how hard our kids are working now. So that's something that I'm very thankful and very proud of this past senior class.
I want to stay with Coach Guyon here really quick. That senior class was a class, and there were some classes as far as missing a season, but that class in particular, I remember when I first had you on, you were telling me about some of the, players like DJ Wright, the running back, the quarterback, who was also a fantastic baseball player and going to UConn. It just felt like that group, was something really, really special. And even though they did, it didn't result in a championship, I feel like when you look at that group of seniors 10 years down the road, I feel like they're going to be special young men away from the gridiron. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yep. I agree. I mean, we had two kids that came back tonight to watch us at Wesleyan camp, just to hang out and kind of mentor some of the younger kids. And one of the best stories about this past group, is when we had to select our scholar athlete. I mean, we had 6 or 7 kids that had over a 3.8 GPA, cum, and DJ ended up getting it because he had a 4.01. So they were special in the classroom, they were special on the field, and they're special people too.
I'll go to Coach Miller here. Now, I know, again, to go to the decision as far as to leave Norwalk, and, even though it was only, quote unquote, one season, you were there for 2, the COVID season, was a non-season, but you were still part of it. How difficult was it to leave a program that you really kind of, just for the short time you were there, Coach, really left it was almost like you were there for longer than just 2 years, because of the impression that you made on the program and for everybody around as well, as far as the community is concerned?
Well, I appreciate you saying that, Chris, and I hope so. But it was extremely hard. This was, it's funny because, coaching college football has been my dream since I picked up a football when I was 7 years old, and realized I wasn't any good at football, so I might as well start thinking about coaching like right away. So coaching in college has been a lifelong dream of mine. But by no means did that make it an easy decision. It was very difficult. It happened very fast. If you were a month ago, I was all in on, the 2022 Norwalk season. But, it was just everything that those kids, they did everything we asked of them. The administration there is awesome. Doug Marchetti is one of the best athletic directors in the state. He's a football guy who gets what it takes to run a successful program. All the parents there are just such a great support system. Everything I've ever said about that place, I've meant. It's a very diverse place.
Mm-hmm.
You have, very wealthy and, not so much, and every color of the rainbow there, trying to work together to get it done. So it's a very special place. And I know they're gonna keep the thing rolling. And like I said, Doug's one of the best at what he does, and he'll find someone better, and they'll keep that thing rolling.
I'll stay with Coach Miller here really quick. Just take me into the conversation with Coach Kroos, because just in my short time of knowing him, as much as I do, because being able to have him on the podcast and kind of keep that connection there, I mean, I could see why players at Holy Cross and just Waterbury embrace him. He's a former firefighter. Now he's the head coach full time with Anna Maria College. Just how is that conversation like? Because I feel like it's one of those things where I like, almost like, not to say he was joking when he asked you, but kind of like very smooth, very easy, but also serious. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he is a high energy guy. That's just a ton of fun to be around, and pick his brain about the things that they've been successful on. So yeah, and he was great the entire time through that entire process. And really, it going up there and talking to him on the phone, it took about a week to kind of make come to that decision.
Mm.
But he was great the entire time, of like, dude, yeah, he goes, we want you here. We're offering you the job, but it's got to be right for you. Like, if this isn't right, I'm not going to push you towards it. And every question I asked, he laid it out very honest, which is, all I could ask for. And it was just, it's a special, it's a cool place where a lot of special things can happen. And,
Mm-hmm.
the year they had last year was awesome. They were the number 8 passing offense in the country. which is pretty cool to go and be a part of and be the receivers coach. It is fun because all those guys are coming back. So the place sells itself, but when you add a guy like Coach Crows, who's very, very passionate about that place and believes in that place, it was it'd be tough to turn down.
You're definitely going to like one of the wide receivers they have, DeAndre Wallace, former
Yeah, he's
Holy
pretty
Cross.
good.
Oh, he is pretty good. Now, you know what's funny? What he's doing now, he was extremely raw when he was at Holy Cross because he was also a basketball player. He had over 1,000 rebounds. He was a monster on the boards. But now that he's focusing strictly on football, you're seeing the talent really kind of that clay that was being molded is now becoming a finishing product.
I mean, he's phenomenal. He's really, really special, and I've gotten lucky where I've been able to coach some really, really good ones. And you look really, really smart when you coach really, really good players. So I keep falling into those situations. So him and they're the other receivers up there. Justin McMillan's a Middletown kid. They got Hayden Braga, who's a Rhode Island kid, and the whole crew's coming back. So excited to get to work with those guys. Excited to get to know them because I haven't met any of them yet. Just seen them on film, and just the talent just pops out at you, and it's really led by DeAndre.
I'll go to Coach Guyon here. I didn't forget about you, Andy. I can never forget about you. Especially, that big smile that you have, as Tim Boyle was telling me. I do want to know, because while there was a lot of talent that graduated, I know some people within the whatever inner circles, the Twitter warriors, as we call them, would make the case that, Xavier is losing so much, the cupboard is bare. I don't think that's the case. I would think it's more so opportunity for younger players, like you mentioned, who were kind of being groomed by the rights of the world and, Crone, the quarterback, and et cetera, to now it's their turn to shine. Is that wrong for me to think that?
Well, first of all, back to your original point, when Tim was with us, there was a lot to smile about.
He was pretty good.
That was helpful.
He was okay.
Yeah, he was pretty good. He was all right. He made being a defensive coordinator a lot of fun. And let people think that we're just bare. Good, yeah, that's fine. We'll let people think that. But the kids coming up are hungry, and they want success themselves. They want their success. They want their team success. So they've really bought in, and they're working extremely, extremely hard. Right now, I mean, everybody's 0-0. No one's playing for a state championship tomorrow. So it's, what are we doing? How's our team coming together? How's the work ethic? How's the camaraderie? What standards are they living up to? That's kind of where we're at right now. I believe that we're going to compete. We're going to play hard, and we're going to play physical. So
I'll stay with Coach Guyon here again. Just looking at now, with there being 6 titles, you've got Class S, Double S, M, Double M, L, and so on and so forth.
Yep.
Is there, how do I put this? Is there potential? I mean, have the kids, talked to you about that? Do they have a reaction to it? Are they just like, we don't care. We're just going to play who's ever in front of us, and we are going to beat them, whoever that is?
No, I mean, the kids are probably worse than we are sometimes, because they go on the CIAC and check, all right, well, who's in Class L and who's in Double L, and they check and see who's in there with you. And sometimes they're like, what, hey, we'll just play like you said, we'll play whoever's in front of us. And then other times they're like, wow, it's really, you got Shelton, you got Newtown, you got Darien, you got New Canaan, you got St. Joe's, Naugatuck. That was for you, by the way.
Thanks.
I mean, we've got Class L is there's a lot of really good teams in there. So, but we can only worry about what we do, and we can control how hard we work and how we play. So
I'll go to Coach Miller here. To kind of piggyback off of what Andy said, looking at those 6 classes, looking at the articles that I've read, there's a lot of favor that Class L is probably the heaviest as far as the heavy hitters, because you've got 8 teams coming back that made the playoffs just because of the rankings. Andy mentioned some of the teams, obviously one of them being an NBL team in Naugatuck, who returns almost everybody back. There's a good chance that people could expect them to have a deep run. There's also the St. Joe's of the world. You've got Xavier, which I'm not sleeping on. Nobody should. What are your thoughts as far as the classes are concerned? I'd love to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah, no, I wish it was last year. First and foremost, I wish it was last year, because 7-3 would have got us in. But no, I think it's great being able to do this and get more teams into the playoffs, because being at Sheehan, when we didn't make the playoffs since '95, and then you just see what just making the playoffs does for your program. It's huge. And we're opening up opportunities to more teams where then they're not playing more games. And every coach I've talked to, all love going to the 6. L is loaded. The L division is going to be earned. But you really look through it, and every division you look at looks pretty even, where you can't really point to any one team and go, no, just give them the banner now. So was always a big fan of more and more playoffs. And you look at my fiance coaches softball at Sheehan. She's the softball coach at Sheehan, and they were the 26th seed and they made it all the way to the quarterfinals, and there's these cool stories that could come up from some of these underdog teams, that get hot at the right time, and things could be special where, you see these stories. The Norwalk baseball team from, 2020 was another example of that. They were the 24 seed. They got hot and, beat the best teams in the state and were able to win a state championship. So those stories are so cool, and everyone likes to root for, the scrappy underdog through these tournaments. So big fan of more teams getting that opportunity to experience the playoffs.
I'm glad that you mentioned softball, because Bristol, I think it was Bristol Eastern, lost to Massac 4-0 in the semis. And mind you, Massac is kind of like the Patriots. I mean, they never lose championships. They always win. But I'm glad that you mentioned that, because they were a team that took down multiple top seeds. I think they beat Clifford and another
Law.
team. Yeah, Law too. Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So to see that, as far as, I see the argument like, having more teams in and so on. I get that. I could see why people view it that way. But at the same time, though, I think football is kind of one of those things where, let the players play, because people forget it's they're student athletes, but these are young kids who 99% of them are not playing college sports. Okay. So this may be their one and only, I don't want to say shining moment, but as far as sports are concerned, where they can have, like you said, Pat, have a memory, be able to remember this forever.
I laugh because you see it on Twitter, and now that I'm not coaching, I can say this kind of stuff there. But the coming out of this is just the everybody gets a trophy. No, only 6 teams get a trophy. There's 138 teams in the state of Connecticut, so 132 teams aren't getting a trophy. It's still very competitive.
Isn't that fun now?
This always makes me laugh. Always makes me laugh.
I'll go to Andy here. As far as how the offseason has been going for Xavier, for anything that you can share, I don't want you to spill the beans on any secret stuff that you and Nick Saban have cooking up in your in your basement. And I mean
In the
that most
basement,
politely.
yeah.
But no, but seriously though, what do you like? What are you? Just kind of give me some feedback. How's it? How's it going? How is there any young players that are kind of stepping up, or maybe kind of jumping out to you early on?
Yeah, we have one of our players who played last year. He was a corner and a receiver for us, JP Hosney. He also plays baseball. Kid's a phenomenal athlete. He's been doing great. We have two kids coming off of injuries last year who are explosive athletes. They ran track for us, Sam Forte and Styles Mitchell. So they're both going to be juniors. And then we have our outside backer, Richie Lang. He started for us as a sophomore towards the end of the year and did a phenomenal job. Ben Cozine was another kid who was a track kid as well through the shot. And he got some time on varsity last year as a sophomore. And then our two offensive linemen who are back, our center Vinny Scalepi and our left tackle Justin Brown. So we have two starters back on offense, and they're both on the offensive line. So that's a good situation for us. We're pretty happy. We're thankful that they're back. So those kids have really separated themselves as hard workers and talented and doing the right things. So we're excited about them.
It always helps having that blind side, having that left tackle spot, being able to return, being able to help out your quarterback as well. Always helps.
Yeah.
Now, guys, we're just about
Yes.
running out of time here, and I really do appreciate, both of you being able to spend some time to come on, especially I know with it being late and everything. So again, I really do appreciate it. Pat, one last question for you. Is there anything that you want to share or say as far as kind of, I don't want to say like a final send off to Norwalk, but just kind of anything you want to share as far as to the kids who graduate already, to the to the young men that are still in the program, to the community, anything like that?
Yeah, I obviously, I spoke to those guys and let them know how I felt. It is just, I love them. I appreciate them. I get to go live my dream because of them. I don't get these opportunities without, those guys and what they did on the field. So I've been saying it's kind of the first selfish decision I've made in my coaching career. And I owe it all to those guys for all the work that they put in. And can't thank them enough. And I love the town. I love the community. I can't wait to recruit it. Because I know the type of players that they have there.
Andy, one last question for you, and you're still at Xavier, so I'm not going to ask you any send off yet.
Yeah.
You're going to be there for a while. You can't leave yet.
I hope so. I certainly hope so.
No, because you've done so much for that program. I mean, obviously what you were doing as a DC and then now being the head coach. And, I understand the last couple seasons haven't been, oh, here's the trophy, but you've done it, you basically have done so much as far as off the field and also on the field. It goes without saying. Now I know I will be visiting your, camp at some, I have it written down my calendar. I just got to look at the date again, and I'm looking forward to that. What could I, expect as far as when I'm there? Anything like that? Love to hear it.
A lot of energy, a lot of passion, hopefully discipline, and doing things the right way. Doing the little things correct. That's really what myself and the rest of our staff, that's what we're focusing on. Doing those little things, because those little things add up to big things. Trying to get our players and to understand what it takes to be successful, not only in football, but in the classroom, in life. And hopefully we can use the football field and use what we do at practice to transfer over into other parts of their lives.
I appreciate you guys both coming on. It was a pleasure to be able to interview both again. Now, on the next episode of the Thread Series, I'll be having Coach Tim Shea of Plainville, as I see Coach Guyon laughing already, and Jason Bruin from Platt. Andy, I think you want to say something really quick.
Well, I think in that episode, you're definitely going to hear a lot about food, cooking. Jason will talk about cooking. Tim will talk about the different restaurants in Plainville he enjoys. So yeah, it's going to be like you should put it on the Food Network. Forget about putting it on this.
I have to admit, I think it was Jason who was putting up like the ribs with the seasoning for Platt. It had like the Platt
He
logo.
loves.
I was like,
Yeah.
I'm
Oh, yeah.
jealous. I want that.
That's what we talk about most is just give food recommendations from each other more than football stuff. Just like, hey, I'm out in Plainville. Tim, where are you gonna go?
Well, last night we had like a 20 text conversation about where Tim should go to dinner for his birthday. You know, we're arguing back and forth about what restaurants to go to, and I don't know where he picked.
That's what you're missing, people.
I have to admit, it was right after the Massive game because Andy was there, Shay was there, Jason was there. Jason's voice was gone. I think it was just because of all the yelling over the season. And, to have you guys there, it was a pleasure to be able to see all you guys in person. I love that. I still have the picture on my phone. That was a lot of fun.
Yes.
I think we are contractually obligated, Andy, to shout out the thread every time we're on this.
Yeah.
Even though it's a thread series, shout out the
Right.
thread. If you know, you know.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you know, you know.
That's very true. Coach Guyon, as always, a pleasure to be able to have you on the podcast.
Thank you very much. We appreciate it.
Coach Miller, again, congratulations on being able to be promoted as the wide receivers coach for Anna Maria College. Great work with Norwalk, and hopefully you won't forget about me when you're doing great things with Anna Maria.
Thanks, Chris. We'll talk soon.
Definitely. That'll wrap things up here in the Connecticut Sports Talent Show. So until next time, stay safe. Remember, CT stands for Connecticut Talent. I'm Audrey and find them all. Make sure you stay tuned for the second episode of the Thread series. It'll be on Wednesday, rather. And as I said before, Shay and Coach Bruin will be next. Have a good one, everybody.
Bye, Andy.
Bye, Pat.